Hello and welcome to Tracy Mommy Reads. I am back again with another video. I am going to just take a moment here on this video. I don't think I've ever done this outside of when I do questions with the booktuber or something like that. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to just introduce myself to new followers and just give you a few little tidbits about me. My name is Tracy Mommy, and I obviously love to read, which prompted me to start this YouTube channel a few years ago. But not only do I love to read, I love talking about the books that I read. And, you know, if you've watched a few of my videos, you will see that I get quite passionate about it and animated, like it's, you know, true life stuff that's happening. That's because most of the books that I read and review on the channel, I am excited about them, you know, to talk to somebody about them and to share my thoughts on them and give you a full-blown recap. Sometimes maybe I go too far, but I try to always mention if I'm going to have spoilers. And speaking of, books that I review, I read a lot of books. I don't review every single book that I read for a variety of reasons. Number one, I may not have liked the book enough to really want to talk about it. And I am also an author. For those of you who didn't know that, you can learn more about my books and my stuff at tracymommy.com. It's my name. I'll put the website here. But, you know, I'm an author, and I know firsthand that when you go in and you write a story, that it is not going to be for everyone. You know, you may craft a blog in a way that makes people think that, oh, this book sounds pretty good. And maybe it is a good book, but it's just not, you know, that person's cup of tea. And so I feel like if a book is just poorly written, I mean, there's like no regard for punctuation, for grammar, for formatting, you know, it's just really horribly written. You know, I can see maybe someone being a bit pissed off about that if they bought a book and wasted their money or their time. But just because you didn't necessarily like a book, I mean, I guess I would have to know the reasons why or whatever. I just don't know about the book bashing, because most authors, if they have written more than one book, they have an audience, which is what prompted that second book, you know, and maybe it just wasn't my cup of tea. So I'm not going to use my platform to come on and talk about what I thought was wrong. I mean, as it is, you'll see, you know, if you go through some of my reviews, I always have a problem with the book endings, but, you know, it's not my book. And maybe there are other people who thought it was, you know, spectacular the way certain books ended. I've liked a whole lot of books, and then I got to the ending and I'm like, oh, why did she or he do it this way? And, you know, that's just like personal preference, personal taste. Could be because I am also a writer, you know, and I'm thinking what I would have done. But primarily on this channel, Tracy Mommy Reads, I'm going to talk about books that I enjoy, books that I found interesting, funny, entertaining, engaging, surprising, and all of those things. Because I think those kind of books make for a better conversation than bashing books that I really didn't like. And I know a lot of people will say, well, you know, people should be able to take constructive criticism or critique. That's fine. It has its place. But I read way too many books to be focused on the books that I didn't like. So there's that. So yeah, I also have a hashtag on Instagram that is filled with books that I have read over probably the last decade, even before I started the channel. So you can check out my hashtag on Instagram, hashtag Tracy Mommy Reads, if you want some recs or reviews on, you know, different books or what have you. But yeah, in addition to being a reader, like I said, I'm also an author. I have 6 published novels in the marketplace, with another one coming out soon. I also do freelance graphic design work. And, you know, I just try to be an upbeat, positive person. I am a Gen Xer. So I am in my 50s. And I have 2, one adult son and a daughter that's a teenager, and I'm married. So that's just like a little background of, you know, the person behind the madness that you see, you know, with the hands and all that stuff, talking about these books. So without further ado, we are going to jump right into why you really came here today, right? I'm going to be talking about the book When I Think of You by Myah Ariel. When I Think of You. And I'm wondering if this, like, if the title, if it just kind of came to her like when she was writing the book, because it is a romance book. It is in the romance genre, but it is also a popular song by Janet Jackson. So I was just wondering, like if that had any bearing, because I've seen a lot of books, especially in the romance genre, with Black writers or Black authors. They have like old school R&B songs as their book titles, which I'm here for it. I love it. I think it's a great way to pay homage to a bygone era that had the best music ever, hands down. Go argue with your dog. So anyway, Myah Ariel's When I Think of You. Okay, so the book follows a young woman by the name of Kaliya. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Kaliyaah. Kaliya, and her ex, Danny. Okay, and they are both in the movie industry as far as behind the scenes, right? He's a director. When the book opens, she's actually working at a movie studio as a receptionist, but she does have a degree. She went to film school, and she helped Danny. They were college sweethearts, and she had helped him with his thesis project, helping him get a film produced, and and everything. So she has gotten her feet wet, and she knows about the makings of movies and all of that, and that is her goal. It's her career goal. She wants to get more involved in the movie making process, but she hasn't found her big break yet. So she's paying her dues, so to speak, by working at the movie studio as a receptionist slash, everything person. Because, a lot of times the people that are also the face of the at the front desk, they have other assignments that probably aren't even in their job description. So she's doing all kinds of random tasks around the office there. And one day, she's, minding her business at her place of employment, and in walks Danny. And I believe she hasn't seen him in like 7 years or something, since they split back in college or whatever. And he's with, another woman who is his girlfriend. And, Kaliya feels some kind of way because, she didn't want him to see her like in such what she considers a menial position, when he already has a film like under his belt and a nomination for an Oscar, and he's with this woman who I think she's like a famous actress or whatever. So that first like reconnection, if you will, when they see each other again is not one, not anything spectacular. It's one where she wishes she could have like been hiding under her desk. And I will tell you, like, I don't know if this is this author's debut or not, but I really enjoyed her writing style. It was very reminiscent to me to the way that a lot of the romance books in the 90s were actually written, and a lot of the characters and the banter and, stuff that her dialogue was just so on point. That's what really kept me into the story, were those things. And then she would like have these things that the characters like it would be, I guess, lessons learned from the characters or their aha moments, which were pretty deep. And I got this book actually from the library. I got like a physical copy, but I think I said this on another video, I had to take the book back, so I didn't get a chance. By the time I got ready to do this video, I didn't have the book, so that's why I had the cover here on my Kindle. But I have a thing on here that says I can't highlight or put little stickers for the aha quotes. Like, for example, this one: there are times in life when the hardest thing to hear is what most needs to be said, right? I think what it had to do with it was either Danny or Kaliya's like best friend kind of, telling her about herself. Like, a lot of times people throw these pity parties for themselves, or they, feel like they possess all of this knowledge, all this talent, all this stuff, and nobody's giving them a chance, they just become so despondent. When in reality, they haven't really put themselves out there because they're afraid of the failure, that would come with it. I mean, we learn later as we read the book, there was something else that happened with Kalia, but at the same time, it still left her fearful to move past that incident and, try to put herself out there and see if she could actually make it, because so many people are afraid of failure, but it sounds better in their minds to say, well, nobody will give me a chance. What do you want me to do? Because then it makes you the victim, and then you don't have to take accountability or responsibility for your life, which is essentially what she was doing in some regards. I also liked the relationship between Kalia and her roommate, best friend. I think her name was Nia, Neha. That's the thing too, I will tell you, with sometimes with some of these authors, when y'all spell these names or give us names we've never heard of, or maybe they're names that I've never heard of, it's hard to pronounce them. Even when you're reading, and even if you're reading silently, you kind of stumble over names in your mind if you aren't saying them correctly, or you just kind of skip over the names. But anyway, her and her best friend, I really liked their relationship. It was a typical ride or die type relationship, typical let me tell you about yourself relationship where there was no love lost, and I think we all could use friends like that. The biggest plot point, what was happening here in this story, was Danny had been given money by the studio, or got the green light, however that stuff works, at the studio where Kalia works, to do like this very personal film that he wanted to direct and produce and, put out into the world. And it was a story about his parents, right? They had an interracial relationship. His father was white and his mother was black. And his dad had been a famous director, Oscar-winning, director, and he had passed away. So he was doing this, to kind of honor their love and pay tribute to his father. And it was a very personal film. And so once he, came to the studio, like I said, he ran into Kalia there, and he had his girlfriend with him who was also invested in this film that he was making. But he remembered how smart she was and capable, and how she helped him basically, put together the film he had to turn in when he graduated. So he brings her on board like as an assistant, which is different from what she's doing. Like, this is like really more helping with the film, scouting locations, the casting, just kind of helping all of those people with their jobs, to bring the film together. And also because, he really valued her opinion, and because he still was carrying a torch for her. Because that's the thing, when I went into this, I was like, so he has a girlfriend? How is this going to work? But yeah, it worked, it worked. That's all I'll say about that. But, most, romance books, they follow a typical formula, I feel, especially if there's resistance there, whether it's someone who appears to be forbidden. Oh, that's my best friend's little sister, or it's, because I'm in a relationship, or it's an enemies to lovers, like where there's this barrier or this person that kind of stands between the two main people getting together. And then when they finally get together, and everything, they act on, their feelings for each other or whatever, you always are going to have this big miscommunication or this thing that happens that, pulls them apart. And it was no different in When I Think of You, where we got some of that. But I don't know. First of all, let me back up. The book is a very slow burn, in my opinion. In my opinion. you know, everybody's standing on business. They're trying to get this movie made, and there are some feelings, and there are some flirtations, and there's some, you know, longing stares and different commentary and comments and texts and all this stuff. But I will tell you, because I think I even made a note of it, it's either not till page like 188 or 183 that the two main characters even share a kiss. And I think we're right at 300 pages for this book. So it was more than halfway. So it's a very slow burn. And then, you know, like I said, you always have that miscommunication piece that kind of brings them apart and they have to fight for their love. So after we waited that long, then we get that type of thing happening. And, you know, I had to keep reminding myself, as I do with some of the romance books that I've read as of late, you know, the characters are young. I mean, the oldest person in the relationship may be 35, but usually they're going to be in their late 20s, early 30s. And so I think when I think of like the things that they're doing and the things that they're saying, it like makes me so mad, because I'm like, oh, will you just go grow up and go tell him? Will you just tell her? Will you just, you know, well, why are you doing that? You know what? But true to life, when you're at that stage in that age and you're experiencing like a real love, like this could be a marriage eventually, this could be my person for life type thing, you mishandle the situation a lot. You know, I'm sure I was guilty of that as well when I was in my 20s and 30s. So I have to give these characters some grace, because they were making me so mad. I was like, what the hell are y'all doing? You know, get together already. But also another thing that is in, you know, a predictable piece that's in every romance book, which is what you read it for, right? There's always a happily ever after, you know? There's always a happily ever after, which, you know, we get that as well in When I Think of You. I love this cover too, the artwork on the front of it, because so many books nowadays are like people, you know, like actual people. I don't know if they're AI people or if they're you know, stock photos, but I liked this photo that she has on her cover. But all in all, it was an entertaining read. It was you know, enjoyable. I feel like it was, for a romance book, it was well written. And like I said at the top of the video, a lot of times when you're reading, you know, some stories won't touch every reader. Some stories will not be every reader's cup of tea. And you know, there were parts of it that I was, just because of my age, I said, you know, like I said before, maybe because it was my age or whatever, that I was kind of like, oh, rolling my eyes. But all in all, a very good read. If you like romance, if you like slow burns, if you like books with witty banter, books with, you know, some pop culture references, you know, if you are looking for more romance books by Black authors, if all of that is stuff that you're looking for, or if any of the things that I mentioned check, you know, your boxes for what you look for in a romance novel, then you will really enjoy When I Think of You by Myah Ariel. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't read When I Think of You, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments. Make sure that you like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and take the opportunity to do so now. Thank you to everyone who is already subscribed. You guys are the real MVP. Thanks again, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you next week. Bye.